podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine. Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans
for basketball fans.
Finn James,
Will Tremaine,
back again with another episode. I'm pretty sure if my calculations are correct, Will. Episode 38.
Episode 38, mate.
38, mate.
38, mate.
Getting closer to that 1 year mark.
Oh,
scary.
Close to that giveaway.
Stop talking about the giveaway to Bali that's worth $10,000 that you can enter by hitting a comment down below and leaving a like on the podcast. I'm just joking. That's not going to happen. However, comes out of Will Tremaine's pocket, so maybe it should.
Is that the case now, hey?
We've got a big episode planned for you guys today. Of course, we'll head over some world news, some really big news regarding the NBL for next season, which we'll dive into. We'll head into the last round of the Sal's NBL, which has restarted since the little international break. And of course, we'll end the episode by scanning our eye over the NBA playoffs, which is all so juicy and very unpredictable. Our predictions are probably completely out the window by now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We stunk it up on this one.
Absolutely.
As many of you guys would have. I don't want to hear it that anybody predicted a Knicks Pacers Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolutely no way. Of course, as always, time codes down below if you want to skip to anywhere during the podcast and watch your favorite bits. But of course, we'll start with a little bit of world news before we dive right in. Will Tremaine, where are we going?
Super Rugby, run through the scores real quick. Brumbies beat the Reds 24-14. Moana got the big win over the Blues, 27-21. We watched this game, Finn.
Ginormous win.
That's probably going to get them into the top 6, I believe.
The Blues might be done.
Blues might be out.
They have a decently hard run home, I think.
Artie Savia, best player in the world.
Easily.
Showing it again.
What a game.
Fijian Drua, 38-7 win over the Force.
Massive.
Crusaders beat the Tars, 48-33. Who cares? And the Canes beat the Highlanders 24-20. So
that was a really good game
Super
too.
Rugby.
Went down to the wire.
Indeed it did.
Super Rugby's been good this year, as I've said in almost every episode, and they're getting to the last, I think, 3 rounds. So squeaky bum time is like what I like to call it. Squeaky bum time. If you know, you know. In terms of some other world news, the Warriors continue to show that they're a genuine top 4 team in the NRL. 6 wins on the trot for the Warriors. A 16-12 win over the Redcliffe Dolphins in Redcliffe last night. Very scrappy win. I was a bit nervous going into the back end of the game. James Fisher-Harris got a yellow card, and they scored a try and were down 4, but they held out, and a win is a win. It was a good win from the boys. Thoroughly enjoyed the watch.
When does the downfall start, then?
Probably
the
next
inevitable
week.
Downfall of the 5-game losing streak.
Probably soon. Yeah.
Soon?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Warriors have a very tough, I think, next 4 or 5 rounds. However, Origin's coming up, so they're going to be playing some teams that might be a little bit depleted. So it might be a bit easier than we think.
It just dawned upon me. We had a crazy night of watching sport last night.
Oh,
we
yeah.
watched Tuatara versus the Rams. Then we watched the Warriors versus the Dolphins. Blues versus Moana. And then to top off the night, Auckland FC beat Melbourne Victory 1-0 in the first leg of the semi-finals over in Melbourne.
Which is a great start in the semi-final, by the way, for Auckland FC.
4 games of sport in a row, Finn. How did we do it?
It was a great night. And to top it all off, we played Monopoly. Good times.
True.
Very good times. But yeah, as Will just said, Auckland FC got the 1-0 win in the first leg. They almost went up 2-0 in the last 5 minutes, but hit both posts. And unfortunately. But however...
Not unfortunately.
We're not unfortunate at all. They're up 1-0. Yeah, 1-0 going into their home game next... I think it's Saturday night against Melbourne Victory at Mount Smart, and then
away goals also under thing anymore.
No, they aren't.
I mean, as long as we just draw next weekend, draw or better, and we're through to the final. So
in the inaugural season,
looking great,
crazy.
And the final will be at Mount Smart Stadium, guys,
or Eden Park. It's undecided yet, but I will be I would hate to see it go somewhere else.
Nah, Eden Park, bro, because you can sell it out.
No, but
they'd sell Eden Park.
They gotta play at their home stadium in front of their local loyal home. Okay.
Mount Smart Stadium and Eden Park, they're nearby to each other. I don't know, what, 20-minute drive max? Someone fact check me on that. But anybody that can make it to Mount Smart can make it to Eden Park.
I'm just saying I think they should keep it, and I think if you ask any other Auckland FC fan, they'd probably say the same. However, this has
Apart from me.
Are you really an Auckland FC fan?
I'd say I'm a bigger Auckland FC fan than you.
Have you been to a game?
I have not.
Have I been to a game?
You have.
I have.
I've watched more games, though, for sure.
Okay, you can claim that.
Anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Who cares?
It's not a competition. But F1 this weekend, I think, as well.
Yeah. Emilia Romagna. Probably botching that name.
Butchered that. Holy.
Yeah, it's an Italian Grand Prix. I think it's near Bologna. Man, I'm just digging a hole for myself at this point.
If you're Italian, click off now.
But yeah, Piastri got pole position again. The race is tomorrow, so it'll be all done by the time this podcast comes up. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight how good Oscar Piastri is doing to start this season. I think his teammate Lando Norris was the favourite to win it all this year going into the season, and he was kind of overshadowed a bit, being the younger, less experienced driver to his teammate Lando. But Oscar Piastri has looked like a world beater to start this year. I think he's won 3 races already, so he has a shot at winning 4 now out of
pole
the
position,
first
right?
6.
Pole position
yeah, he's got pole position. Yeah, so. I mean, if he goes out there and wins it again tomorrow, he's already leading the F1 championship, but this is just great. And he's from Australia as well, so...
Yeah.
I know we have that friendly little rivalry in all of our sports between Kiwis and Aussies, but at the end of the day, we're all Anzacs, and I can't help but find myself just rooting for anyone from this area of the world, Finn. So, yeah, I'm hoping he gets the job done. Great year.
Liam Lawson, 16th on the grid going into this Grand Prix, so still struggling a little bit in Racing Bulls.
Something I've heard, Finn.
Go on.
They've got a rookie driver in Formula 2, Red Bull called Arvid Lindblad. He's 17 years old.
He actually was in New Zealand not long ago.
Yeah.
Racing in the CT Froth, I'm pretty sure.
And he's doing a phenomenal job in Formula 2, and someone behind the scenes has said that Red Bull are rushing for him to get his F1 license ASAP, because there's rumours that Liam Lawson, if he don't step it up, he could be getting the boot for Arvid Lindblad.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, if he... this is not a good showing to be P16, especially when his teammate Hadjar, I think, got P8 in the end as well.
He's been really good at him.
So, I mean, yeah, who knows if Liam Lawson actually lasts a full season in Formula 1.
We thought he would. He was very good last year.
He started in the top team, Red Bull, and he could be out in 1 year. Crazy.
That McLaren team's been going nuts this year. Is it going to be Piastri and Norris 1 and 2 by the end of the season?
I think Piastri wins it, and Norris and Verstappen are close, 2nd and 3rd. It's going to be those 3 in some sort of order. But it's crazy that Verstappen's able to do this with such a bad car.
Yeah.
McLaren clearly have the fastest car on the grid, 100%. But yeah, who knows? Norris, Piastri, that could be a little bit of a battle back to the Mercedes days of Lewis Hamilton and who was it? Nico Rosberg. Who knows? That'd be good fun to watch. Good hard racing.
Yeah, and that's all for the world news. We'll scan our eye over some big news that's come out in the last, I'd say, 24, 48 hours in the NBL. But first, the draft combine has been going on. A few players from the local league in the NBL have been showcasing. Alex Tui, Lockie Ulbrich, Ben Henschel, and Rocco Zikarsky, all 4 being given their crack at the draft combine. I don't know, I haven't seen any mock drafts, but I think Tui's projected 2nd round, and I think Rocco Zikarsky might be 2, but I don't know if Henschel or Ulbrich will get a chance.
They impressed, apparently, from what I've seen. The 3, Tui, Ulbrich, and Henschel, they highlighted. I didn't see anything about Rocco Zikarsky, but those 3 specifically apparently played quite well. And I also happened to notice Lockie Ulbrich and Ben Henschel both went up for a little stint in Portland for the Portland Trailblazers to work out for them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, who knows? Could be having one of them on the Portland Trailblazers.
I also saw a video of Lockie Ulbrich getting ankle broken in the draft, so that's interesting. However, these guys are very good. I wouldn't be surprised if Tui does get drafted 2nd round. I think he's probably the best out of the 4 of them.
Yep.
Same with Rocco. I mean, Rocco stands at about 7'2".
You just got to take him purely based off that fact of how big he is,
yes,
and the potential that he has. I think he definitely gets drafted as well.
Yeah, just not even if he's skilled, like a better player in terms of skill or shooting ability, but
size.
You can't teach size. I think he is 7'2".
Yeah.
Great, he's a good defender. So that he does have that. I mean, you'd hope he's a good defender.
He'd be a working piece for sure, but
yeah,
some team like the Hornets or the Jazz or the Wizards would be willing to take a shot at him.
You'd think so.
Yeah. Ben Henschel and Lockie Ulbrich, I don't know about those 2, but hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe in that 50 range, or even just get picked up. They'll be in a summer league team at some point.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can shout in that.
Speaking of summer league, something that we will highlight a little bit later on, but I thought I'd highlight now. I mean, there's been quite a few moves around the Cells NBL. One in particular, Will Hickey, obviously departing. He's gone back to Sydney to play for the Comets in the NBL 1. However, he will be suiting up for the Detroit Pistons in the Summer League.
Yeah.
I called it about 4 or 5 episodes ago that we might see Davo Hickey in the Summer League, and, well, let's just say I called it, and I told you so.
Well, no one was disagreeing with you, mate. But
yeah, good point.
Very entertaining. Great player. I'm glad he's got his shot in the Summer League. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah.
But I think a player of his skill set is quite unique. Like, he's kind of like dare I say, compare him to Russ, but like, he does all things. He rebounds the ball well. He makes the correct pass, and he's a good scorer at like driving to the basket. His 3-point shot needs a little bit of work, but I think he could definitely make a statement in the NBA.
Yeah,
in the summer league.
Incredibly herky-jerky is what I like to call him. Very unorthodox game around the rim. Very slow steps.
Yeah,
good in the midi. But we'll get into some of the other moves around the Sal's NBL when we showcase some of the games, because there has been quite a few moves, more local, but one in particular which we will highlight, of course, in the Auckland Tuatara. Bit of a tease there.
But there's quite a lot of NBL news that we still got to get into.
Of course.
And one of the biggest ones, Patty Mills, Spurs legend, Australian basketball legend, who's had a tremendous career in the NBA. He's being rumoured to make a move back to the NBL. And one team I've seen attached to his name quite a bit was the Perth Wildcats. Those rumours have been squashed.
Yeah, they weren't real, apparently.
But there are still other teams interested in him. I've seen Cairns were interested in him.
Yeah.
And Melbourne, I think it was.
Yeah, and Perth are still obviously interested, but yeah, the rumour came out that there were like extensive talks between the two.
Lies.
It must have been a really slow news day in Australia for them to just completely BS that.
Yeah.
But Patty Mills in the NBL, I think he'd be an instant impact guy. He'd be like Daly. Well, not like Daly. Daly in the sense of an NBA guy that's at the back end of his career. That's
such a different game to Delhi, though.
Oh, no, it's completely different.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of the experience they'll bring, like an NBA veteran coming to their local league. Like, Patty could average 30 in the NBL, I reckon. Like, quite easily.
30?
Have you
Bryce
seen...
Cotton couldn't average 30.
Oh, sorry. 30's a stretch, actually.
I think Bryce Cotton's better than Patty Mills, currently.
No, that was a stretch. Sorry. Let's say about 23.
Yeah.
That's that. I always forget the NBL is 40 minutes instead of 40 minutes sometimes. Apologies. I'd say he'd be one of the better scorers in the league. That was
for sure.
He'd crazy be up there.
He reminds me of like prime Corey Webster. I've always compared those two players, in my opinion. Like Corey Webster is the Kiwi version of Patty Mills, just both elite 3-point shooters, smaller guards. So yeah, I reckon he could definitely.
I just think if you watch Patty Mills in a Boomers uniform, he pops off against some of the best in the world. If he comes and does that, obviously, like, he's been on the Clippers the last, I think, like, half of the season after that Jazz trade. Didn't really play. He was a locker room guy, as
poor Patty.
Need. I think he embraced that role. Like,
like poor Patty being on the Clippers. But.
Yeah, right. At least he wasn't on the Blazers. But no, he'll come back and he'll cook. He'll be very, very good.
For sure.
Playing in front of his home crowd. But in terms of that happening, I'm not sure. Obviously, he'd be taking a pretty big pay cut to come back to Australia. I mean, he's on an NBA veteran, which is like, it's upwards of almost like $3 million a year. I think maybe even more, maybe like $4 million for an NBA 1-year veteran contract.
I don't think he'll get picked up though by an NBA team. I think
is he a free agent?
I don't think it's up to him. I think he's a free agent.
If he's a free agent, then he might be coming back.
I don't think any team's paying him $4 million. Like, sorry, Patty, but he's
Yeah.
not even playing.
Maybe
So I think
not.
that's why he's
Okay,
making
no.
the move back.
If James Johnson can get on a roster, Patty Mills can get on a roster.
but James Johnson is on a roster for another reason. He's not on there for his basketball skills. Bro, I talked about this. I might have mentioned this on the pod already, but the Pacers signed James Johnson the day after their little bloody beef with the Bucks, where Giannis went back into the Pacers locker room to get the game ball. The day later, they signed black belt James Johnson.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Anyway, another name that Melbourne United are interested in is Finn Delaney. Unfortunately, someone that the Breakers were looking out for, but yeah, Melbourne look like they've got that one secured.
I don't know if it's secured, but they're like throwing the kitchen sink at Finn Delaney to try and sign him.
Mitch McCarron's retired.
He has 9-year career, one-time champ, played a couple seasons on the Breakers. Oh, that one season.
Shout out Mitch McCarron.
Shout out Mitch McCarron. NBL vet, I'd like to call him.
Yeah.
Bounced around quite a bit.
We're replacing him with Taylor Britt now. So
who, honestly, has relatively impressed me, especially in that last All Blacks game against the Boomers. Was very good.
For sure.
However, Will, the biggest news coming out of the NBL this week is the fact that they are finalizing to introduce a in-season tournament for the next season going forward. Yeah, and I'll run through some details for you, and then I'll get your take on the end of this. So this is what I've written down. The tournament's going to add an extra 20 games to the NBL regular season, and it would end in February. The 20 games would count towards the team's record, apart from the grand final game. The tournament would begin in round 4, every game playing on a Wednesday night, and this is the spanner in the works, which I'm not sure I'm a fan of. During the game, you get a point for every quarter you win. So you can win
I don't
The
know
first
this part.
this is what I'm getting into. This is the crazy.
I just read the headliner, bro. I just read the
This is
headliner
what
that
I mean.
we're adding an in-season tournament.
This is it. So
what is this?
you get a point for every quarter you win. So say you get blown out in the first and second quarter, but you win in the second and third quarter, but still lose the game. Win the third and fourth quarter, but still lose the game. You still get 2 points. So you get a win for each quarter you win, and the winner of the game gets 3 points. So you could win a maximum of 7 points in a game.
I don't like that.
This is very interesting. I understand. So that's how the point system is going to work. Each team plays 2 home games and 2 away games, so 4 games in total. And the way that they determine the teams to play in the grand final, which will be for prize money, is the 2 teams with the highest points at the end of those 4 games. So you're not going to play every single team. You're only going to play 4 teams, and it's a cumulative point system where you could earn up to 7 points a game or less, depending on if you win every quarter or not. So it's a bit random. But with this inclusion now, there's going to be every team's going to be playing 33 games in a season, potentially 34 if they play in the grand final, instead of the 29 which they played last season.
I love the concept of it. Like the NBA, have a little in-season tournament, keep the players involved, and adding 4 games, I don't think that's much. Playing 33 games in a season, they're athletes, they should be able to do that. NBA players play 82, so I mean, 33 is nothing. But as for the quarter, all of that nonsense, all that malarkey, get that out of here, mate. No, I don't want that. Why do you need to win a quarter to get points? That's stupid. You play to win a full game of basketball. That makes 0 sense. Just make it the same as the NBA's. It's pretty simple. Done.
I'll tell you why.
Go through.
I'll tell you why that probably doesn't work. There's 30 teams in the NBA. There is only 10, or is it 11?
How does that change the
No,
fact
but I'm
that
telling
they're
you,
winning a quarter?
No, I'm telling you why it wouldn't work. Because in the NBA in-season tournament, they have 6 pools of 5 teams, right? And they play off, and I can't remember. Is it just their first?
Is there divisions? The divisions.
Yeah, no, actually, it's not even the division sometimes.
Oh, they mix it up.
They mix it up. So they do 6 pools of 5 teams. They can't do that in the NBL. So they had to think of an alternative.
Yeah, but how does the quarter thing come into play?
Because
that's what I'm saying. I'm not arguing anything else.
I understand that, but it's because they can only play a limited number. If it would make sense if they played every single team like once, but I think they're doing it like this because they can't play every team.
Well, they're playing 4 teams.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that your opinion's invalid. Sorry, because I also don't know if I'm the biggest fan of this point scoring system.
You don't play a basketball game to win each quarter. You play a basketball game to win the game.
Yeah. Well, you get the most points for winning the game. You get 3.
Yeah, no, but that's besides the point because you can get 4 points for winning the quarters.
Okay, but how would you get 4 points? You'd get.
There's a world where the winning team could get 4 points and the losing team gets 3 points, and that's just dumb.
Yeah, because they could win the 4th or win the first.
The winning team could win really 1 quarter by like 30, and then the team that lost won the other 3 quarters by 1 point. It just makes no sense. Just have winners and losers. They're playing 4 games anyway. There's going to be a team that goes 4-0. There's going to be a team that goes 3-1.
Maybe this is why. Because what if there was...
If there's tie breaks, then you go to points differential.
Yeah, good point.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple as, and yeah.
They're still finalising it, so I mean, it's not set in stone.
They should ask for the fans' opinions, because I have a feeling that most people would be on par with me, that you shouldn't be getting points for a quarter.
Do you like the idea, though?
I like the idea of the in-season tournament.
Just get rid of the point scoring system. Do you enjoy the fact that the NBL are trying to be
100%.
innovative and trying to try new things?
I've been saying for years, I think there should be more than 29 regular season games. So I think that part of it alone, just the fact there's going to be another 4 games that count towards the regular season standings, that in itself is great. And then the fact that there's also a little grand final in the middle of the year, it's going to get a lot more eyes on the game as well. 100%, I think.
Plus prize money.
Yeah.
Which is good for teams. Obviously, this is a league where they don't make as much compared to like the NBA and stuff. So, I mean, prize money for these younger guys.
Money's going up, though.
Imagine like the DPs, like Alex McNord and stuff, get a lump sum.
True.
Yeah. I like the idea. I think
it's good.
It's good the NBL are trying to, obviously they've taken a huge inspiration from the NBA in terms of the in-season tournament format and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they could rethink the the format of it. I don't know. If it works though, what if we go into this season and this point system actually really works? Are you going to change your mind, or are you still always
No,
going to be?
it's not going to work. It's dumb.
Okay.
Playing games to win quarters just makes no sense. Like, you play a game of basketball to win the game. But anyway, like you said, that part's irrelevant. I think we should just look at the fact of it. It's an in-season tournament. And
there's more games.
That in itself is a great idea.
And there's more games.
Exactly.
Which everyone wants. Yeah. I'm a fan. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it'll be a good way for some sponsors to get on board as well and get the league a bit more money. But an interesting concept. And if there's any developments, we'll let you know.
Let's get into some NZNBL. I'll quickly run through the scores from this week. We're back after a little 2 weeks off. 5 games for you. There's one game that we're not going to be able to cover in this episode that gets underway in an hour, I think. But so far, 5 games. The Taranaki Airs beat the Phi 75-62. Giants beat the Hawks 98-82. Big win. Canterbury Rams versus Tuatara. We watched that game. 96-92 win for the Rams. Very close game down in Christchurch. The Saints destroyed the Jets without Corey Webster. 108-61. Then the Giants got their second win of the week. And I think their third win of the season. So 2 wins in 1 week over the Bulls, which is a big win. 91-80. So, entertaining first week back of hoops in the NZNBL. Any standout games there? Obviously, we watched the Rams versus the Tuatara. Great game.
Yeah.
Poor decisions.
Let's speak on that. The Tuatara are paying $8.75 going into this one head-to-head, which is a crazy line. Obviously, Davo departing. Rams top of the table. Last time they played...
That's what influences it. The game that they played in Auckland, they lost by 50-something. 53, I think it was.
Yeah.
And this was in Christchurch, so obviously the bookies thought they were going to smoke them out the water even worse. Especially with no Dave Hickey this time either.
Yeah, and obviously his replacement, who is Luther Muhammad, actually. We haven't got into that yet. Isn't in the country yet. I think he'll be back for next game. But
that's what I've heard.
4-point loss for the Tuatara. They were leading with a minute left, I think. Charles Pride got that go-ahead layup.
Great game
there was some... let's just say some interesting calls down the stretch from the officials. I'm not going to be biased, despite being a Tuatara fan because of Dylan and everything. Some interesting calls down the stretch, especially the unsportsmanlike off the ball on the inbound on Walter Brown on Boy Tuark, which was very interesting because a few plays earlier, Tohi Smith-Milner ran straight through Zach Riley, who was his first game in the Tuatara jersey.
Terrible refereeing. Let's not sugarcoat it.
There was no unsportsmanlike there. I think there was a few foul calls that might have maybe gone to the Rams, but however, throughout the game in general, Max Darling was getting hoed. I'm not gonna lie, Tohi Smith-Milner was getting kind of hoed as well. So, in general, slightly poor officiating across the board in this game. What do you think?
100%. Yeah, everything you said, I agree. But no, at the end of the day, it was an entertaining game.
It was
close 4-point game down in Christchurch. Like you mentioned, Zach Riley, he's back for the Tuatara now as well. He looked great, great defender, hustle guy. Once they get Luther Muhammad, who's just an absolute bucket. Yeah. I mean, he brings a very, very different style of play than what we saw with Will Hickey. It's going to be interesting to see. Well, he does. He's not a natural point guard like Will Hickey.
No. Yeah, it's a good point.
It's going to be interesting to see who steps up in that playmaking role. But someone like Luther Muhammad and then Charles Pride's also getting into the groove of it.
He's been playing
2
really well.
Excellent scoring guards in the backcourt there for the Tuatara. It's going to be entertaining for sure. But should we get into it? Our top 3 of the week, Finn. Player we just mentioned. You want to start us off at number 3?
Number 3 for the Fast Break Podcast MVP. I think it's week number 6 we're into now. Sean McDonald. Canterbury Rams. I think he had 27 points on the night in the win. 9 of 18 from the field. The Australian. I think he made the cut a few weeks ago. Almost 3 weeks ago when they absolutely demolished the Tuatara. Continued to display his scoring prowess from outside. He played quite well. Had a very clutch bucket down the stretch. So he slots into number 2 with that 4-point win. However, we got somebody in number 2 who might be a bit of a surprise. I think it's the first time featuring on the list.
Second place. No surprise. Inevitable that he was about to...
He had to make the list at some point.
None other than Charles Pride. Chuck. As he likes to go by, or some other people call him Cuzzy Cuz.
Sour as well.
Sour.
Lots of nicknames he's got.
Yeah. Shout out Cuzzy Cuz. Charles, he finished the game with 31 points. Also, this is quite a phenomenal thing right here. I think this is the first time we've had a player from a losing team make our top 3.
I think it might be, actually.
But we could have not put him on there.
Very well deserved.
Close game, 4-point loss.
In
And
a
he finished this one.
In a game where they were supposed to get absolutely smoked, considering the bookies.
And he finished this one for him with 31 points, 11 rebounds, and he shot 13 for 19 from the field. He just could not miss. He also had that massive go-ahead layup. That should have been an and one as well, by the way.
Yeah, it was tough.
That put them up, and then obviously the officiating lost them the game at the end there. But yeah, great game from Charles Pride. Shout out him.
He needed a feature.
Who was number 1 for?
Number 1, the new import who came in last round for the Nelson Giants, who contributed pretty hugely on both games, for the Giants this week. But his game against the Hawke's Bay Hawks in particular, the import Jeremy Combs makes the cut from his first game of the week performance, the 98-82 win over the Hawke's Bay Hawks. He finished with 37 points, I'm pretty sure. So a very good performance from Jeremy Combs. It looks like this new Nelson Giants import trio they have with Jeremy Combs, Alex Robson, and the newest guy who's come in. I'm so sorry, his name escapes my brain. Looking very good. I mean, 2 wins to string together. I think it might be a bit too late for them to try and crack the top 6, but stranger things have happened. But looks like they're kind of gelling a little bit better than they were with their first few imports that they brought in that are obviously departed. So Jeremy Combs at the number 1 spot takes home 3 points for the Nelson Giants this week.
And that wraps up week 6 of the top 3 for the Fast Break Podcast MVP, where we'll be hand delivering the winner their trophy at the end of the season. So stay tuned for that.
We can't give it to Dave O'Hickey.
Oh, well.
Sadly.
Maybe
Who was on track. He was on track.
Luther Muhammad could come in here and just have crazy...
We should touch on that. These new signings that have come in. Luther Muhammad to the Tuatara. Tay Hardy has extended his contract to the end of the season for the Franklin Bulls, which I think is a massive signing for them. There's a bunch of other signings throughout the league as well. I know Jordan Nartai has returned to the Wellington Saints, which is a stupidly good signing for them.
He's looking good too, bro.
I think, and this might be a hot take, I think he's in the best shape I've seen him in the last 5 years, potentially. He looks really good. I think he had a stint over in maybe Europe before this
Scary
as well.
Times. That Wellington team is stacked.
Jalen Durand from the Hawke's Bay Hawks, not Hawke's Bay Hawks, sorry, from the Indian Panthers, despite the team, they're suspended indefinitely until they prove something or get axed. He was in a sign and trade. He's headed over to the Taranaki Airs, which I'm very happy for Jalen. Obviously proved his worth with the Panthers so far this year, so congrats to him. And there's been a bunch of other signings as well. Zach Riley to the Tuatara in particular. Toy Smith-Milner for the rest of the year down in Canterbury. There's been a few other ones here and there, but those are some notable ones. One of the big ones I did see, though, Mojave King signing with the Tauranga 5 for the rest of the season. The Breakers
That's massive.
Which is a huge signing.
They needed it. Both of their imports got cut.
Yeah, they did.
One of them for breaching some sort of team
protocol.
Standards,
so don't know what happened there. Don't know the details.
The other one was just a mutual decision to leave. But yeah, Mojave King's a massive signing. So
Mojave King, Anzac Rosetto, and Sean Murphy all signing for the Tauranga 5. 3 local ballers, which is good to see. Continue with the localness
100%.
down in Tauranga, who have had a pretty decent year. So some really good names to add to their roster, of course, as well. But in terms of the other signings, I'm sure there's a few more that I've missed out, but those are the ones that have stuck out to my head in particular.
Yeah. Let's gaze our eyes upon the NBA, Finn.
Oh, we shall.
Second round is about to be wrapped up. There's one game to go, which unfortunately is tomorrow morning. So,
early as well.
We're not going to be able to cover that. That's OKC Denver, Game 7. Right off the bat, Finn.
Prediction. Oh my gosh, I haven't even really thought about this. In Oklahoma, Game 7, off a pretty good win for the Nuggets at home. Oh my god, I'm actually really torn. I think the Thunder win this. The Thunder win this. At home crowd. Jalen Williams has been horrible. He's going to have a good game for the first time this series, and they're going to win.
I know I picked OKC in the original second round predictions, but I'm tempted to go Nuggets here. I'm going to go Nuggets. Denver Nuggets get the job done. Their experience. I think Aaron Gordon, who is in doubt for Game 7, that plays a massive role. I think without him, actually, I think OKC win. I think the Nuggets need Aaron Gordon. If he plays, I'm taking the Nuggets.
He's been so good for them this season, bro.
100%.
Well, this playoffs.
2 game winners in this playoffs.
Yeah, don't remind me.
One against the Clippers.
Don't remind me.
Fuck off. That nice put back dunk. Yeah. Or was it just a lob? Yeah.
No, it was definitely not a lob.
But
Don't want to talk about it.
Nah, great game winner right there down in LA to eliminate them. Anyway, yeah. So that's our
Asshole.
quick prediction for the last second round matchup. And then we're into the conference semifinals, which is Knicks Pacers confirmed, crazy. And then the Wolves versus
How?
yeah.
Sorry.
Finn, let's wrap up the rounds real quick. Pacers beat the Cavs in 5. How did the Pacers beat the Cavs in 5?
Oh my god.
No one predicted this. I don't want to hear it.
I had the Pacers getting bounced in the first round by the Bucks, first of all.
So did I.
Second of all, I saw them playing the Cavs. I thought the Cavs were going to have a clean sweep. They went up 3... Was it 3-0?
No. Nah, 2-1 and then 3-1.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Look, I understand why they lost game 2, because they had no DeAndre Hunter, no Mobley, and no Garland. Makes sense. But, man, 5 games?
And then they
and
lost.
D. Mitch was playing out of his mind this series, too.
They lost game 4 by like 60 points.
I know.
That was insane. And that was a fully healthy Cavs team.
Are they... Okay, so... Are they frauds? A 64-win team getting bounced by the Pacers?
I don't know, bro. Because, I mean, Donovan Mitchell is him. He's one of the
so
best
good.
playoff risers in NBA history, in my opinion.
It's a big call, but...
He is, bro. He dropped he averaged 34, I think, this playoffs. And he
was so good in the... He was so good in that series. I just... 5 games, though? You know what? And look, I know how much you really dislike Tyrese Halliburton, but you got to admit, and obviously he had a few games where he wasn't great, but you got to admit he had some pretty good games in this series.
Nope, he sucks.
Okay,
inconsistent. If you're a superstar, you got to be consistently having good games, and it's on and off with him.
So he's not a superstar.
I've seen people trying to say he's a superstar.
No, he's an all-star.
He's not even an all-star in my opinion.
Yes, he is.
He didn't make the all-star game.
Did he not?
Nope.
No. Well, he has in the past, didn't he?
He has in the past, yeah. But
actually, this is my theory for the Pacers winning. Andrew Nembhard has been a very good playoff riser. Aaron Nesmith has been a good playoff riser. Miles Turner has been pretty good as well. I really haven't heard much about Pascal Siakam. But
he played well in the first few games against the Bucks, but he dropped off a bit after that.
They have a good team.
100%.
They have a really good... And like TJ McConnell, despite
Hustle
him
dog.
he's hustle dog, man. However, we're here now in the conference finals against the Knicks, where, first of all, I want to highlight Jason Tatum, obviously with the ruptured Achilles, which is a horrible injury.
I've seen predictions that that's
16 to 24 months, isn't it?
Up to 2 years he could be out. So prayers up for him.
Yeah, prayers up to him, man. Despite us, talking a bit of shit about Jason Tatum.
He's not my favorite player.
He's not my favorite player, but you never want to see the best players in the game go down without them. You hate to see it.
Of course, players like Dame as well. That's obviously happened to him. Luckily, that wasn't a rupture, so he should be back.
A tear, was it?
That was partial. A tear.
Yeah. So he's 9 months.
9 to 12 months, I think it is.
So he's gonna miss the next year, probably.
But the good news is in this, he got surgery that night, and it was from the same surgeon that did Kevin Durant's Achilles.
Did KD rupture his as well?
Yes.
So he was,
same surgeon that did KD's. And look at KD. He's come back as one of the only players in NBA history that's come back and put up even better stats than they were pre.
Did Kobe tear his Achilles? Did Kobe rupture his Achilles?
Kobe did rupture it, but
he was getting older.
His stats went down after he came back from it.
He was getting older anyway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so hopefully Tatum comes back.
Prayers up to Tatum. Personally, I think we're going to see some big shifts from the Celtics in the offseason. I reckon this is my prediction, by the way. Horford might retire, first of all. Yeah. I think he might be done.
100%.
I think this might be the last time we see Jaylen Brown in a Celtics jersey, just quietly as well. I think Porzingis is probably going to be on his bike, potentially as well.
Drew Holiday.
I think Drew Holiday might stick around. I'm not sure. I don't know what his contract looks like.
I think Derek White's going to be the guy.
I think Derek White is going to hang around and turn into one of their best players for next season. But I think the Celtics' reign of them being that undisputed best team in the Eastern Conference, despite the Cavs being very good this year. They only had about 4 wins more than the Celtics at the end anyway. But I think their reign at the top of the Eastern Conference might start to go downhill.
A short but sweet dynasty. So, we can't even call it a dynasty.
And you know what's crazy? I had them winning the whole thing this season, bro.
A lot of people did.
And I honestly, they blew 2 20-point leads to the Knicks in the first 2 games, and then, with the Tatum injury, it was all over.
And let's not say that the Jason Tatum injury is the reason they lost the series.
No,
because the Knicks were already up in that game where Tatum went down. They were going to win that game, and they were going to go up, 3-1?
Yeah.
So they were winning this series with or without Tatum.
Yeah, because the it might be 3-0 actually.
No, it was 3-1.
Oh.
They were up 2-0. No, they were up 2-0.
Oh, and they lost the first game in New York.
They lost game 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they won the second game in New
The
York.
Celtics won game 5 in Boston without Jason Tatum, which was crazy. But the Knicks advance after game 6.
So Knicks Pacers.
First of all, I want to say big shout out to Jalen Brunson. He's been cooking this playoffs. The rest of the team's been pretty good as well. I think Cat needs to really step up in the series, though. He's been, I think, in the Celtics series in particular, he was quite quiet, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I agree. He definitely needs to step up. But let's have a look at that series. Pacers versus Knicks, Finn. We obviously both had Cavs Celtics as our Eastern Conference finals.
Yeah.
So we have to yet again make another prediction.
Okay.
Knicks versus Pacers, Finn. Hopefully we get this one right this time. Who are you taking?
Got to be the Knicks, bro. And it's actually, I want to see the Knicks make the finals because they haven't won a championship since the 70s. So
what are you taking them in?
I think it's going to be the Knicks in 6 games.
6.
I think they can get it done in 6.
Okay. I'm going to sound crazy for saying this because everybody out there knows how much I despise the Pacers and I despise Tyrese Halliburton and I wish they would get swept by the Knicks. But they've beaten the Bucks and the Cavs back to back and it's just, I don't know how they've done it. I simply don't, but I don't see the Knicks stopping them. I think this is just a generational run from the Indiana Pacers. It won't be Halliburton that gets them over the line. It'll be all the other guys like Nembhard, Naismith, Siakam, Turner. So I'm saying
Ben
the
Shepherd.
Indiana Pacers, and I don't even think it goes 7 either. They've looked so crazy good. I'm taking the Pacers in 6.
Oh my god.
So you got the Knicks in 6. I got the Pacers in 6.
Is this a 2011 Dallas Mavericks type run that we're
No, because
seeing?
they're going to lose in the finals.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, I think they make the finals. Anyway.
Holy.
Yeah, one of us...
Hey, throw that up on the board, man. Will Tremaine, Halliburton hater, has the Pacers in 6 against the New York Knicks, led by Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mikal Bridges.
I've simply done this so that one of us has to be right.
Yeah, fair.
Because, we've agreed too much in the
If you had gone
series.
first, then would you have taken the Knicks?
No, I was still going Pacers.
I guess we'll never know.
Oh my god.
All right, let's
I'm still going Pacers.
Let's look at the Western Conference then. Obviously, you have the Nuggets winning tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Thunder. The Wolves obviously won in 5 games with Steph Curry going down with that hamstring.
They were
strain.
winning. I hate this.
They were going to win it anyway. They were going to win it anyway.
Yeah.
Despite Anthony Edwards being arguably one of the most inefficient players in the playoffs so far, the rest of their team has stepped up.
Jaden
McDaniels and Julius Randle in particular have been... Julius Randle in particular, sorry, I'm going to put him well above Jaden McDaniels, has been very good this playoffs, considering he had a slightly... I wouldn't say a down year, but I thought he would be a slightly bit better.
Well, he was a known playoff dipper in previous years.
He's been the
this year he's been a playoff riser.
Yeah, he's been shooting far more efficiently than he has in previous playoff years for him. So shout out Julius Randle. And you're gonna need to shoot the piss out the ball in the conference finals.
He's due for a bloody great series.
Yeah, because
honestly, they've timed it for the perfect series.
They have. The rest of the Wolves team is the reason why they've gotten over the line, realistically. And look, so I'm going to have them against the Thunder. You're going to have them against the Nuggets.
Western Conference finals predictions.
Thunder, it's going to be the Thunder, and they're going to win in 6 games.
Thunder in 6.
Maybe even 5.
Damn.
Thunder in 5 or 6. I'm sorry, they're too good.
And me, so I'm going to have Wolves Nuggets, and I'm continuing on the Anthony Edwards hype train.
Wow.
Give me the Wolves in 7 over the Nuggets.
Okay.
And you know what? Stuff it. We may as well do our final prediction.
Are you... Wait, hold on.
So we got different
No. Will Tremaine.
What's up?
I'm sick to my stomach.
What's up?
In your reality, we're seeing a Minnesota Timberwolves versus Indiana Pacers NBA Finals.
Yeah.
If you rolled it back 3 or 4... How many episodes would it have been? 3 or 4 episodes ago, we dropped our NBA playoff predictions, and you told me that we could potentially see the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Indiana Pacers in the NBA Finals. I would have shot you in the face.
Whoa,
Nah, a bit too far. I would have thrown up.
See that, Sport Nation?
I would have thrown up.
Threat in my life, live on podcast.
I would have thrown up. That's what I would have done. And you actually think that's going to happen?
Well, I mean... They're 2 of the 4 remaining teams. So
I just can't believe
5 remaining teams. I mean,
all right.
I just don't see it. Yeah, I see that. I know it's weird, but They've both proven that they deserve to be here. And yeah, as I hinted, I don't have the Pacers winning it all, so
The Wolves.
you guys can work it out for yourselves. I've got the Minnesota Timberwolves winning their first chip this year.
Wow.
I think they beat the Pacers.
And who's going to win Finals MVP? Is it going to be Anthony Edwards?
It's going to be Anthony Edwards. I've been saying this for ages. He is starting his dynasty with the Minnesota Timberwolves this year. They're going to go on a three-peat. They're winning the next 3 years. The Minnesota Timberwolves are winning the next 3 years. And Anthony Edwards is the next greatest shooting guard. It's gone.
I agree with that
Kobe,
last statement.
Anthony Edwards.
Okay. There you have it.
I love Anthony Edwards, man. He's
and my finals
one of my favorite
prediction, it will be the Thunder versus the Knicks. And honestly, I'd love to see the Knicks win a chip. I'd love to.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know why. I think...
Fair.
And you know what? Jalen Brunson is surpassing Carmelo Anthony in Knicks status. Might have already, for me, actually. Which might be a crazy statement, but I think Jalen Brunson...
He's got to win it all to do that.
Well, what did Carmelo Anthony do for the Knicks?
Just be him.
Exactly.
He was...
Jalen Brunson's taken them to a conference finals. I think he did that.
He was Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, right.
Jalen Brunson ain't him yet.
I think he's close to reaching that.
He's close.
Mellow Knicks.
He hasn't
stature.
played there long enough. That's the difference.
No, he hasn't. And I think I want the Knicks to win, so I'm going to take them in 7 against the Thunder in the NBA Finals.
You know, I would also like to see the possible reality of a Wolves-Knicks final. I think that would be entertaining.
Do you know how cool that'd be?
Yeah,
if they traded. Yeah.
Cat and Randall were traded for each other. Damn, that'd be sick.
You know what's crazy tomorrow? And it's the Nuggets versus Thunder Game 7.
That determines
the MVP, by the way, hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
Game 7.
They can't. There's too much pressure if they do it.
I saw this. Liam and Adam talked about this. Yeah. Shout out the boys. They should hang the MVP trophy above the court like a ladder match in the WWE. And whoever wins gets it.
Yeah. That'd be a great idea.
That'd be so funny. Oh,
I think the Wolves' playoff chances are dependent on tomorrow morning's game, because I think if the Thunder beat the Nuggets, I think the Thunder would beat the Wolves as well.
I agree.
So that's the Minnesota Timberwolves winning the chip this year is dependent on the fact that the Nuggets win tomorrow, in my opinion. Anyway, that's
before we get finished though.
Yeah.
The draft lottery.
Oh,
we haven't spoken about that.
Of course, bro.
Where did the Blazers finish?
11th.
Shame.
Drop one spot. Cool. Doesn't matter. We've got a young team.
At least you have a pick. I think we have the 29th or I think we have the 30th. I think we have the 30th pick in the first round.
Oh, that's nice. That's cute. Really builds.
It's enough from you. Nico Harrison, you lucky mother. How on earth did the Mavericks get the number 1 overall pick?
The NBA is rigged, bro. It is so rigged. Adam Silver. Why I got my name?
Adam Sandler?
I was about to say Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler?
I was about to say Adam Singer. Adam Silver, he hit up Nico Harrison, and he was like, you trade Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, then we'll give you the number 1 overall pick. And he was like, bet.
And you know,
Nico Harrison is a confirmed genius now.
And it makes it even worse because they have Cooper Flagg, who is going to be I think so at least, a generational talent in the NBA.
What determines generational? Like a top 10 player?
Yeah.
Time? I don't think he's
not all time. Maybe not all time. Let's just say
he's gonna have a phenomenal career.
He's gonna be a franchise player. How about that? Yeah. By the end of by the 6th or 7th season of his career, he's going to be considered like a max franchise player.
I don't think he'd surpass Dirk as a Maverick. But I think he could surpass
Luka was so close to surpassing Dirk.
Oh,
they were in the finals last year. They were in the finals last year. It's so crazy. But man, I just can't believe what unfolded that morning. A 1.8% chance, and Nico Harrison, who traded the entire future of the Mavericks away to the Los Angeles Lakers, is gifted on a platter Cooper Flagg, who is, I wouldn't say a once-in-a-lifetime player like Wemby or anything, but he's a 6'10" defensive beast who can score on all 3 levels.
He's like the second best prospect in the last 10 years.
Probably. It'd be up.
Wemby.
Well, Zion. I don't know. 10 years might be a stretch. You'd have to go back and have a look at all the last 10 years.
Wemby's the only one I can remember of recent memory that's like higher than Cooper Flagg. Like he's more like
hyped. Zion had a lot of hype, man.
Zion would be the other one that's up there. But like, I'd say Cooper Flag is over like the Cade Cunninghams, Anthony Edwards in terms of like hype, for sure.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons going into the NBA.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know as soon as we saw that the Mavericks won the number 1 pick, we were all like talking, oh bro, the Mavericks are going to trade the number 1 pick for Giannis. It's going to be AD, Kyrie, and Giannis. But then I saw a thing where they said Dallas Mavericks are definitely not trading the number 1 pick. So
they can't.
Confirmed to be getting Cooper Flag.
They can't trade it. They need a future.
I don't know. I just felt like I think that would be a good team, a good trade, straight up.
Well, we got to remember
pick for Giannis. And imagine Kyrie, Giannis, and AD.
Kyrie tore his ACL.
Yeah, but he'll be back like halfway through.
Also, there is no chance they have the cap space to have those 3 max players on their.
Well, they'd obviously trade like filler players to like get Giannis.
Yeah, their team would be horrible outside of those 3.
Well, trade Clay. He's not a big contract, isn't he?
Relatively big.
Clay but how first for Giannis?
You can't have Giannis and AD on the floor at the same time.
Yeah, you can. You could make it work. Bro, who's stopping that team?
I don't know.
On defense and offense.
I'm personally, if I was a Mavericks fan, I'm glad that they're not going for Giannis. I would rather draft Cooper Flag and build around him for the future.
We'll see. He could become generational, but he could also. There's always
a possibility
that he's a bust.
Always a chance.
Who knows?
Always a chance.
But yeah, very entertaining draft lottery. And then Spurs got second. Sixers got third.
Oh, the Sixers actually might be really good next year. If Embiid's healthy, Paul George decides to stop making podcasts, and Tyrese Maxey continues to be a beast, and Jared McCain will be back,
and Ace Bailey.
Oh my god!
Number 3.
The Sixers again just saved by the bell.
It's crazy though because the 4 worst teams: the Hornets, the Jazz, the Wizards, and who was the other team?
I don't know.
The Nets, I think. They all just got bumped down, and all these teams that don't deserve top.
Oh, the Pelicans. The Pelicans didn't get a good pick either. Yeah. Poor guys.
So crazy draft lottery. But we'll break it down again on another episode once the draft happens.
Oh yeah.
And give our draft reactions. But until then, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next week.